Hello and welcome to another episode of Food for Freedom podcast. My name's Niamh and I am the host of this podcast. I talk about all things food freedom, all things recovery. I've healed myself from my EDs all through the power of the mind and obviously doing the one thing that I feared the most, and that is eating. But I like to help you make food feel safer. I like to give you new perspective shifts around food. I like to help the way you think around food. So that's everything that you will find in my podcast. And to those of you who are a weekly watcher, then hello and welcome again. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm so happy to talk to you again for yet another week and have you listening. So I'm always so grateful for you all, so thank you so much, and I'm so glad that I can help in any kind of way. With that being said, I just want to discuss the elephant in the room right now is the black car. The black car, what's going on? So, people may not... I've got no hair. Like, my hair blends into the car. Well, it looks like it does on the camera, so I'm just going to bring this forward. I'm in the holiday rental car. Shout out to Thrifty. Black interior. It's not giving the same vibe as my white studio, let's call it. But it will do. I thought I was thinking about filming outside, but the weather is grey clouds and it's not giving the same vibe as what I thought it would. So I thought I'd just bring it into the car. Hopefully next week maybe I can do it outside, but we'll see. Nevertheless, it doesn't take away from any of the information I'm going to give you. Today's going to be a good one. Today's going to be another good one, and I'm excited to jump into it. And for this one, I really wanted to talk about handling the loss of control during early recovery and how to deal with that, how to navigate that. Because the main important thing that I really think I wish I understood when I was going through it is the one thing that is meant to feel so right and that you're told to do by everyone else who's recovered, and you're told to do by doctors, and you're told to do by just everyone, like recovery. It's the one thing that's pushed, that's meant to be the best thing for you, the thing that's right, the thing that you're meant to do, yet it feels so wrong. And it feels like you're going against everything that you should be going against. It feels like, okay, yeah, this works, but not for me. This won't work for me, like, because these feelings that I'm getting are too intense and I just want to run back because it's the only way that I know how to get safety. And the whole point of the reason I show up on social media, the reason of my podcast, is that I want to prevent people from staying in this loop. I want to prevent people from staying stuck for as long as I did, for longer than they need to be. Not that they need to even be in this loop in the first place, but I want to help people escape it quicker if I can, and help them learn things and realise things that are actually going to help you. Because the one thing about disordered eating and anorexia and having any type of eating disorder is it's not you. It's you are not thinking. It's not your brain. You've been hijacked by a voice that thinks it knows best, thinks it knows everything about you, feeds off of all your insecurities, just completely hijacks your brain. And that voice's job is to keep you stuck. That voice's job is to control you. That voice's job is to just feed you loads of stuff that makes you stuck and trapped and restricted and everything under the sun that you are feeling. That voice is designed to do. So if I can be here and help you realise things and help you have a new perspective on things that might help you speed up your recovery process, or at least make you feel better and stronger going into it, my job's done. So that's exactly why I want to film this episode today, and it's about dealing with the lack of control when going into recovery. Because like I was saying, when you lose the control and you feel like you're losing control, how does the one thing that makes us better feel like the thing that we shouldn't be doing? Feels like the one thing that is so wrong that we are going to mess up so much if we do. Why does it feel so wrong, and how to deal with that feeling? Because that is the exact point people want to go backwards. That's the exact point people spiral and run back to the very thing that they know how to do, and that's restrict. It's control their food, pull back a bit. So I'm going to help you out with that today. So my goal by the end of this podcast episode is to reduce that feeling of you wanting to run back to the moment that it feels hard, the moment that you feel the panic, the moment that you feel like this is suited to everyone else but me. I can't let go of my smallest self yet. I can't let go of these rules. Who am I about the rules? Whenever you get those feelings, the goal of this is to stop you from running back there, reduce you wanting to run back there. because we don't want that. You don't want that. I don't want that for you. You don't want that for yourself. Your family don't want that for you. You deserve so much in this life. You deserve to be free around food, and that's why I'm going to talk about it. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I've just made a video about this on Instagram and TikTok. If you've seen it, sorry for repeating myself, but the very oh my god, my voice just cracked. The very things that feel wrong are actually the very things that are proof things are changing and things are getting better. So that feeling when it feels like you are getting worse, things are getting more out of control, you're gaining loads of weight, you're eating way too much, it's been too many days of eating too much, oh my god, I need to pull back, like maybe if I just restrict this, I'm not fully going back into it. But then any moment like that where things are feeling like they are just getting worse and things are getting harder and it just feels so unbelievably hard for you, is actually the proof things are getting better. And let me tell you why. It's because, right, when there's change, your brain doesn't like change. It likes familiarity, okay? So what this means is the only thing that's familiar to your brain right now is restricting your food, feeling safe when you're smaller, constantly controlling food, constantly thinking about calories, constantly worried about weight gain. All of that is familiar. All of that is in order to keep you safe from the one thing that you fear the most, weight gain. And food and losing your value, losing your identity, all of those things it's protecting you from. And those rules and the way you are around food is the way it protects you, and that's what's familiar to the brain. So when things change, so for example, you now have to get rid of your rules, you now have to get rid of the timings you eat, you now have to get rid of the safe foods that you eat, you now have to gain weight. When all of those are snatched away from a brain that loves familiarity and thinks that it's keeping you safe, your brain's going to panic and it's going to be like, fuck, and it's going to send out all these uncomfortable signals until you listen and go back to what's familiar, because it's like, I don't know how to act around this unfamiliarity, I don't like unfamiliarity, I don't like uncertainty. Your brain loves that. Your brain prefers being certain than happy. It doesn't care if it's not making you happy. It cares if it knows what's coming. It cares if it can predict something. It cares if something's familiar. That's when it cares. So if these things are unfamiliar, weight gain, you don't know how you're going to feel when you gain weight, you don't know how you're going to be accepted when you gain weight. Unsafe foods, you don't know how you're going to act around them, you only predict what you think you're going to act around them. So all of the responses of discomfort is the brain panicking. The brain's panicking like, things are changing and I don't know how to keep you safe right now because this is all we've known. So when the brain panics, it's actually proof that things are getting better, because you are changing. You are changing what you believe in, and you are changing what you believe in for the better. Your brain doesn't yet believe it's better because it hasn't got enough proof that you are safe doing these things. But the more you teach it and the more you sit there and you say, okay, brain, I know you want to relapse right now. I know you want me to relapse, and I know you want me to go back to what you think is familiar. But these are actually the things that are going to keep me safe. And I have to repeat these things to you in order to prove to you that I am safe. So the brain panicking is not because you have done anything wrong. It's not because you're going into recovery wrong. It's not because you're doing recovery wrong. It's not because you're gaining weight too quickly in recovery. It's just a response from a brain that is panicking because it doesn't know how to keep you safe with this unfamiliar change. So the changes that are happening are good changes. They're good changes, but your brain does not know that yet because it's going against everything that this voice has come in and made you believe. So when you are panicking, you have to remember you're doing it right. You are doing it right if you are panicking, because you are changing. It's proof that things are finally changing. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, but it's something that if you really want to recover your relationship with food and heal your relationship with food, whatever stage you try and do it at, whether you prolong it and think, oh, I'm not ready yet, and prolong it, and like each time it happens you keep going back, if you really want to be free around food, at one point in your life you're gonna have to face it, and you're gonna have to deal with that change, and you're gonna have to deal with that uncomfortable feeling. So there's no point prolonging it, because once you know that the only reason you are getting these uncomfortable feelings, this panic, this fear, this overwhelming thing of I can't do this, it is exactly what you want to happen, because it's proof that you are changing things. You are changing things and the brain is panicking. So, oh my God, you have actually been brave enough to change things The brain panicking is a symptom of the changing things, which is actually a good thing, because you are finally being so brave and changing everything you believe in order to take a step to food freedom. Just because your brain panics, it does not mean you have done anything wrong. No matter how uncomfortable it is, no matter how much your brain tells you that you are different, you can't do recovery, you're gaining weight too quick, you don't know how to act without all of these rules, you will not be loved with all these rules, you will not be loved with all this weight gain, you will not be loved with this, that, all of this noise. Just know you're doing it right. Just know you are doing it right, because the brain is going to scream and it is going to shout, but that is how you know you are doing it right, because you are changing. You are changing everything you believe in. You're changing everything the voice believes in, and finally putting yourself first. And listen out for them brain screaming. Listen out for that panic, because that is a good sign. I'll die on this hill. I understand it's uncomfortable. I'm not talking to you as if it's so simple and it's so easy. I have lived it. I've been through it. But I didn't have someone telling me that, my brain telling me I was a piece of shit and couldn't do recovery and was going to be so unloved and needed to go back to rules in order to feel safe. I didn't have someone telling me that was a sign I was actually doing things well. Instead, I interpreted it as, you know what, voice, you're right, I am a piece of shit, I am unworthy, I am unlovable, I'm still not where I want to be, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep listening to your voice because you are the thing that keeps me safe, everyone else is lying to me. That's what I didn't have. I didn't have someone telling me that the exact things that the brain were telling me are things that actually I needed to hear and push through in order to get through. So, if your brain is screaming at you, you're doing it right. You're doing it right, and you've got to keep seeing tunnel vision straight through. I know why I'm healing. I want my relationship with food back. These are just screaming at me because it's change, and change is unfamiliar, and the brain loves familiarity, but I can teach my brain a new familiarity. Oh my God. So you are not abnormal for feeling like recovery doesn't feel like healing. You are not abnormal for thinking that recovery doesn't suit you, for you doing recovery wrong. You're not abnormal for thinking that. At first, recovery doesn't feel like you're healing. It doesn't feel like you're healing. It feels like you are giving up everything that made you feel safe. It feels like everything you've been trying to avoid, you have to surrender to. It feels like that, but it's about how you think about things and what's on the other end of it. What is on the other end of recovery? What is on the other end of all of this hard stuff I'm going through, and how can you separate yourself from what the voice is saying to you? If you can expect the thoughts that are coming up, then when they do come up, you can think to yourself, oh, maybe this is what Niamh is talking about. Okay, well, this symptom is coming up and it feels really overwhelming, but I know that I'm doing things right if the voice is getting loud. I'm doing things right. It's going to scream at first. But once you know it's going to scream at first because of change, that's what gives you some power. Also, as well, I feel like going on to the same point is, you think, why is the one thing that we're meant to do and the best thing we're meant to do feel so wrong? And you almost think that when you enter recovery, like, everything will just be better off the bat. And it's like, but why is my brain still talking to me loudly? Why is my brain still screaming at me? Why am I still getting thoughts? Why am I this? Why am I that? And we think to ourselves that our brain's just going to answer with, okay, great, we're now recovering, let's go, like, let's do it. And it's like, you have to remember, these food rules and rules around food and rituals and restrictions and everything like that, this works as scaffolding, okay, around you. This works as your emotional scaffolding, because it's not only about the food and the fear of weight gain. It's about who you've become. It's about your identity. It's about how you feel, your ability to control things, your ability to be present in a room. Like, everything has now been consumed by food rules, food noise, and it isn't all to do with foods. It's your literal emotional scaffolding set up around you. It's how you feel okay day to day. So if you imagine a scaffolding on a house, and there's one significant pole, and all of these significant poles are built around to keep the structure up, and if you pull a pole down, this scaffolding is all going to fall down, and the structure of the house isn't going to be held, because it is literally emotional scaffolding. That all of these rules and restrictions are held up keeping you in place, keeping you feeling where you feel safe. So when one is taken away, or they're all taken away, the whole thing collapses. Your whole emotional regulation collapses, because all you know is who you are with food rules. So don't beat yourself up if it feels so chaotic and so overwhelming and so out of control when you pull down the scaffolding, because it's all collapsed. Everything, all of your beliefs that you have built yourself up on and built your self-worth up with, they've all been taken away and they've all been taken down. And that is why it feels so overwhelming. You've now got this scaffolding that you now have to remake based on new beliefs and new things and new strength and things that you didn't think you'd ever believe in, but now you have to believe in. So you cannot beat yourself up or believe that recovery is going to be this thing where it's like, okay, I've decided to recover. Why isn't my brain working with me? Why does it actually feel worse? Why does everything feel like it's collapsing in on me? Why do I feel more lost than I was in my 6 days? And it's like, the emotional scaffolding has fallen down. It's going to feel chaotic until you find what's helping regulate it. How can you speak to yourself kindly to build up a new bit of scaffolding? Instead of all these rules, you now need the good behaviours to create this emotional scaffolding to build your strongest version of you. So for me now, the strongest version of me now is I know how to separate myself from the voice. I've created a new identity, who I am around food, who I want to be around food. And all of those traits and beliefs that I have are the things that hold me up, instead of the voices, traits and scaffolding that held me up. That's collapsed, that's gone. But now I have this new belief system that holds me up, which is a healthy belief system and one that you need to build based on going into recovery and talking to yourself with kindness and new beliefs, and constantly every day believing why you are doing it, telling yourself why you are doing it, thinking about the version of you who's free around food. Every single decision you make, you have to keep turning up for yourself and rebuild yourself up as your strongest, most resilient self, knowing you will never ever let yourself get back to where this voice made you be. And it comes with time, but you just need to know that you are not crazy for recovery not being this thing where it's like, okay, let's go, let's recover. It's going to feel messy, it's going to feel out of control, you're going to feel like you're losing all control, it's going to feel like the wrongest thing, it's going to feel scary. If it doesn't, oh my god, amazing. And I'm not saying it has to feel like this in order for you to go through recovery and do recovery right. Some people can just face recovery with tunnel vision and strength and not have blips, and that is so incredibly amazing. And not everyone's the same, everyone's recoveries are different, but I just know from the amount of messages that I get, people think that they are not worthy of it, they can't do it, it just feels impossible. Just because recovery feels scary and it feels unfamiliar and you don't know what you're doing, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that it's wrong for you. It just means your brain hasn't learned a new set of beliefs. It's still working on the old belief system. It hasn't yet learned that there's safety on this new belief system. It hasn't yet learned that there's safety on the other side of recovery. It has no idea what it's expecting. You just have to keep reminding yourself of the reasons you're doing this. Each time that it tries to tell you that it's wrong, that you're doing something wrong, that it feels wrong, that it's uncomfortable, your brain is always going to prefer unhappy familiarity to uncertain unfamiliarity. It doesn't care if you're happy, it doesn't care what you want, it cares what feels safe. And if you have primed your brain for years of food is scary, weight gain is scary, I feel fat, I'm worthless, I'm this, I'm that, that's what your brain's going to believe, and that's what your brain's going to work on to keep you from going into something you fear. It doesn't just say, like, well done, like, oh good, she's healing, she's finally healing. It's thinking, hang on a sec, there's rules I've followed, I now don't know what to do. Where have the rules gone? Where have the rules gone, and why isn't she following them? And that is the exact reason it feels so confusing, because it's like, in yourself, hang on a sec, like, intellectually, in my mind, I know I'm helping myself. I know I'm helping myself, so why aren't things getting better? And it's because your brain and your nervous system isn't reacting with intention. It's not reacting to the intention of what you're doing. It's reacting to the predictability, and it can't predict what's happening. It doesn't know what's happening. It doesn't realise you're putting yourself first and actually healing. It thinks that you're putting yourself in danger. So that's why I always go on about how important it is to rewire your beliefs. I do think one of the hardest truths about recovery is realising, like I said, that feeling of like, oh, I'm losing control, everything's going wrong, like everything feels worse, is actually the sign of things going right. And it's like, hang on a sec, like imagine, how did I even get through it if I had no one telling me this? And you actually have to think to yourself, hang on a sec, this is actually proof that the old control system is no longer being believed and no longer being listened to or obeyed in the same way. We're now creating like a new system where we don't have to be controlled anymore. And it's like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And I know it's so hard to see it like that in the moment, but that is actually what's happening. And it's hard to find the brain power to think woohoo when all your brain is telling you is, what the fuck are you doing? You are messing up. Like, let's get back to restricting. You feel like shit. You look like shit. And it's like, this is what I'm expecting to hear. This means I'm doing well. And I know it can be hard when you actually, and it's like, okay, yeah, I get that, but the difference is I actually feel like shit. I actually do look like shit, and I actually look fat, because I know what you mean. Like, I have felt that too. I have had that too. I'm no different to you. But your brain is always going to be looking for proof for the things you believe. And if I genuinely believe that I am a fat, worthless piece of shit, my brain is going to constantly look for proof to back that up. You are your thoughts. And as woo-woo as that sounds, the power of the mind is no joke. So although those thoughts are going to come up, and although you are going to feel like you are those thoughts, you have to tell yourself what is more important right now. Being free and less control, or obeying thoughts that aren't even true. It's so hard to separate yourself from the identity that you have made in your head about yourself. I understand that. I struggled for so long with detaching myself from being someone who is really fat and really worthless and no one loves. And it took me ages to detach myself from that. But you have to pull up all the proof to show that you're not, and believe to yourself, I am so sick of being in this state, I will do anything to heal my relationship with food. And with that, I was able to eat. And with that, I was able to heal my relationship with food. And with that, I then saw myself with fueled eyes. And with that, I then built resilience up so that I can then talk to myself with kindness. And it all just works out. But it's so hard for me to explain that to you right now if you are in the depths of it, to tell you that everything's going to be okay and everything's going to work out. But it just does, because you see things with a fueled mindset and realise the one thing that we're all scared of, food, is the exact medicine that you need in order to create this version of yourself that is truly, truly resilient, brave, strong. You'll still have your blips, but you'll just know what to do after the blips in order to keep you on your path of constantly growing and constantly protecting yourself from going back to a place that made you miserable. So something I think is going to really help you with this stage of recovery is reorganisation of your thoughts, the kind of thoughts that are going to come up and what it actually means. So instead of looking at it as though everything is falling apart and it's chaotic and it's overwhelming, it's actually the first stage of reorganisation. We're reorganising your thoughts. It's the first stage of healing everything coming together as it should. Even though it feels like everything's falling apart, it just proves that the old belief system hasn't got the same control that it used to have. So you're going to get this thought of, I'm losing control, and it's like, no, you're not. The old control pattern is actually being interrupted, and your brain can't respond in the way that it's used to responding, so it now needs to find a new way. And in order to find that new way, it comes from you and what you believe and what you're doing and what you show it. So if you say, I'm losing control, I can't do this anymore, and you follow that through with restriction, you are not giving yourself time to interrupt that control thought, and you are just feeding it that food is fear. Instead, it's like, I'm losing control. You can think and sit and think to yourself, this is a symptom of things changing. This is how I know things are changing. I know my brain is going to scream at me because things are changing, but things do need to change, and I need to teach my brain new safe ways around food that are going to help me. It's all about talking to yourself. It's all about being aware. And just from that, you have already interrupted a thought that is so used to just going the same way around, you doing the same things. You've actually interrupted it, become aware, and then giving yourself time to think about the next action you are going to take in order to help yourself. Another thought is, everything feels worse. Why does everything feel worse? And it's like, your system is just adjusting to new feelings, to new patterns, to less rigidity, to less rules. It's adjusting. It's finding how to react to this thing of, oh, the rules have gone out the window. What do we do now? And it's like, it's also up to you to go in there and again help teach yourself that what you are doing is for a reason, and you believe with your heart of hearts that this is the right reason. Another one is going to be like, I can't do this, I can't handle this, it's too much. That is your brain telling you that it is trying to stop change. It's trying to stop you from changing. It's trying to keep you stuck. You just need to know that it's not actually predicting the future. It's telling you what it thinks the future is going to look like in order to keep you stuck, but it's not predicting the future. It doesn't know what's coming, hence why it's not letting you see the future and not letting you believe a future for yourself. It wants to keep you stuck and it wants to stop you from changing. So just with these thoughts and these reorganizations of your thoughts, it will help you realize that the one thing that you are fearing and the things that are coming up that are making you feel like you need to fear things are actually the things that happens when change is actually beginning, it's happening. So going into the next bit is another thing that makes you dread the loss of control is that accepting your body changing, and you change into this body that just doesn't feel like you anymore either. Like, not only are you dealing with the feeling of your body changing, but you are dealing with being in a body that just doesn't even feel like you anymore. You don't recognize it. You don't know who you're becoming. You don't like how you feel. Your clothes might fit differently. You look at your stomach differently. Your stomach may look different. Parts of your body may start looking different. Things feel different. Like, sensations on you feel different. And it can get to a point where you're just like, you just don't even recognize yourself in the mirror, and you're just like, you're still going against yourself. You still feel like, why do I still just hate myself? And it's like, that disconnect is where it can really panic people when they start to see their body changing and stuff, because they still can't see it with the fueled eyes or the acceptance or anything like that. And that's where people are panicking. That's where people relapse as well, because you just don't recognize yourself. You don't feel happy with yourself. But the thing is, it's again your brain playing tricks on you. It's your brain trying to make you believe things that you believe about yourself. And this, your old body is the body that was built around rules, the body that kept you safe, the body that kept you feel protected, the body that made you feel certain, the body that made you feel loved. And it's like, you built your whole identity on that body. So when you're starting to lose it and you start to see changes, it's like you're not only processing those feelings of losing your body or losing the thing that you think keeps you safe. You feel like you're losing your whole identity. You feel like, I won't matter to anyone if, like, no one will even look at me if I gain weight. No one will like me if I've got this body. Like, you hold yourself to this high expectation of being the smallest version of yourself, that anything other than that, people are judging you. People won't care about you. You won't be loved. You are disgusting. You don't deserve a place on this earth. And it is so consuming, because it just, trying to explain that to people, just, if there's something I found really hard, is like, trying to explain that to people is like, it makes me feel like people are just thinking like, she's just fishing for a compliment, or how can she say that when, like, she still looks like that, or, for you, you could be the spitting image of someone's dream body. I'm not saying that's me, by the way. I'm just saying, people, like, everyone's got their own problems, but you could be the spitting image of someone's dream body, but have your own demons, so that you don't even feel like you can speak about these things, because people might just think that you are fishing for a compliment. They might just think, how the fuck can she think like that when she looks like that, or I'd kill to look like her, or so. And it's like, do you know, I get this a lot. People message me, people have commented on my videos before, people have messaged me before, basically just saying, like, you need to understand that when you're still your size, like, what you're saying doesn't matter. And it hurts my feelings. It does hurt my feelings, because it almost makes me feel invalid and my recovery invalid, and it doesn't matter. It's still drawing attention to my body, and I have my own demons with that. And I've been on my own story with that. And the main thing is, I'm so incredibly happy with my mind and where my mind's at, that I don't like my body to be the main thing. I want my words and what I'm telling you to be the main thing. Just because I've recovered my brain doesn't always mean that I have amazing days with my body. I accept my body and I love my body, but it doesn't mean that I can see what other people see. I think I still have my battle, and it's just that thing of trying to explain this feeling of losing control of your body and your body changing is just really hard to people, because some people just don't understand, and that's okay. I can't expect everyone to understand, but I do think it's about realising that your body is the least important thing about you, least interesting thing about you. It's looking after your body. It's knowing the journey you've been on, knowing that your body has taken you through there. This body has got me through mine. It looks after me now. It gets me in this chair talking to you. However it may look, I'm going to accept it, and I love my body for that. And I accept when it changes now. If it means I get to live great holidays, I accept that it fluctuates. If it means I'm going to have a baby one day, you just learn a whole different perspective that isn't all about being your smallest. And yeah, the whole point I'm making about that is when your body changes, you are not losing yourself. You're not becoming someone you don't recognise. You are just losing the body that was built on control, the body that made you miserable, the body that kept you stuck, the body that was trying to destroy you. You are building a body now of where life looks better, life is happier, life is freer, life is more filled with so much more. And that's what you have to remember. And anyone that tries to take that away from you, you just have to remember your story and what exactly has got you here, and your path. And know that this is your path and this is your story. You have to remember this is all part of the healing process. And right now you are interpreting your healing process and this healing through a fear lens of, oh, everything that I once thought I could never go near, I'm going near. And everything that I told myself I'd never do, I'm doing. And it's like, that is your fear lens. What feels like a complete lack of control, a complete loss of identity, a complete, irreversible change and damage, all of that is temporary discomfort. Your body is trying to heal. Your body is trying to take you to this new place of food freedom, and of course it's going to feel scary. You're looking through recovery at the same mindset that caused the problem in the first place. The voice is still talking to you and telling you that recovery is wrong, because that's the same voice that made you stuck and gave you this mental illness and took you on this path. So you and this is what makes it so amazing about how strong you become, is because you are the reason that you get on the other side. You've gone against this voice, this mindset that has got you in this place, and you have taken every bit of your power and you have chosen to go against it. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's going to feel like your body's going against you. It's going to feel like, this is so unfair. My body's doing something to me. The world's happening to me. I'm horrible. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And it's like, you need to hang on a second and you need to remember to yourself, what if this isn't a loss of control? What if this isn't a loss of power? What if this isn't me failing? And what if it's the first time that I don't have to abide by the rules? What if it's the first time that I'm not being overridden by this voice in my head that is just dictating everything I do? For every single meal you've had, it's been planned, controlled, calculated. For every meal you've had, it's been timed. It's been, so granular, so controlled. What was allowed to be eaten, how much of it was allowed to be eaten, when it was allowed to be eaten, what you're allowed to do. Sit with that for a second. Finally, your body is responding on its own. Finally, you are living a life where you're not controlled by these rules. These rules do not make you happy. They make you feel safe. They make you feel accepted. They don't make you happy. What makes you happy is being free. What makes you happy is having freedom. What makes you happy is being able to do things. What makes you happy is being able to choose what to eat. Those are the things that make you happy. So your body changing, your body responding to that is the first time that it's not being controlled and it's not being given these rules that it has to follow. So just think about that. Everything's going right. Everything's going exactly how it's meant to. And I know it feels so scary. I know. And I'm here for you. But you have to think about the bigger picture and what is going on in your brain and what could be waiting for you on the other side, because you are so deserving of that. I saw this video the other day of this woman and I want to say I can't remember her age, but it was an older woman. She basically said, I know what it's like to feel young and old, but you don't know what it feels like to be old. You only know what it feels like to be young. So she was basically, the whole thing she was saying is, everything that you are putting yourself through now, and that's not your fault at all, but it makes you realise there is one day going to be a day where we look back and we think, God, I know what it feels like to be old and young now, and I wish that when I was young that I can't go back to anymore, I never put myself through the stuff that I did. I'm not saying you're putting yourself through this at all. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, if you can make the decision to help yourself in this way now and use it as motivation, as you want that life of juicy freedom as soon as you can. Can't remember what I was going to say. I completely lost my train of thought there. But if I can help you make that decision sooner to help free yourself and help find that strength and resilience, then I will be so grateful and so happy and so proud of you. Let's talk about silencing the urge to relapse. There is always going to be a moment of panic where you think, I can't do this anymore. You know, it really makes it's just easier to follow the rules. It really is just easier to follow the rules. The noise is too much, the overwhelmingness is too much. And the only reason you want to relapse is not even because you want to relapse. You don't even want to go back to that place, but it's the only thing that provides the quickest bit of relief, the quickest bit of feeling okay, the only thing that makes you feel like you're going to be okay. And I'm hoping with what I explained at the beginning of this episode about the scaffolding and why it gets so panicky and why it gets so hard has already helped you think about this a little bit different. But we want to really help you not feel in the point where it gets so bad where you feel like the only relief is relapsing, because it's not. The only relief from relapsing is initial relief. It's initial I'm in control, I feel safe again, I'm controlling again. And it's like, that is just temporary relief that is going to just keep you stuck. If I had relapsed and gave myself that relief, I wouldn't be here sitting here telling you this. Just think about that for a second. I would still be stuck, and I would still be exactly where I didn't want to be, because I was still fearing food. And unfearing food has got me places now, being able to sit here and talk to you about it. So I'm not lying to you. And it's really hard to ignore, because the urge to relapse and the urge of relief doesn't feel like self-sabotage. It doesn't feel like you're doing something wrong. It feels like you are going, like I said, it feels like, finally, relief. Finally I'm safe again. Finally I can be a bit happier. Like, no. Anything that tries to tell you, I'll just get back on track, I'll just tighten up the rules a little bit, I'll just do this, even if you're not fully relapsing, but you're just trying to bring in an old little rule just to make some sort of aspect feel safe, that's where it gets dangerous, because it doesn't feel like a full-on relapse, and it also doesn't feel like self-sabotage. It feels like relief. It sounds like it's going to save you, but you are not craving a relapse. You are not craving the restriction. You're not craving those behaviours. You are craving what that does for you. You're craving certainty. You're craving a quiet mind. You're craving control. You're craving a sense of, I know what I'm doing again. I don't need to feel out of control. And restriction is just happens to be the thing that your brain knows is the quickest way to get you to those feelings. It doesn't mean that they're right. And no one blames you for missing how it makes you feel. Like, you felt safe for the longest time with those. And I especially don't blame you. I followed my rules, and it got me to a place where I felt, this is where I can finally be accepted. Now maybe I'll be accepted. And it's like, it's not true. It's not true. Like, I'm no differently accepted now than I was back then. But you are so convinced that you are better sick and better stuck. And usually when this urge to go back and follow rules, it's not random, it's normally triggered, and it can be things like feeling uncomfortable in certain clothes, feeling emotionally overwhelmed, feeling out of control somewhere in your life. I've spoken about this before. When I'm out of control in my life, I'll get a voice in my head sometimes that tells me, like, tries to focus on food a bit more or my weight a bit more, and it's like, okay, right, then I can think, I'm out of control in this area of my life, and suddenly the voices got louder. Like, how did these correlate? Oh yeah, out of control. Or sometimes if I'm overstimulated a bit of clothing, I can think like, I just feel so big and like puffy and chunky, and then it makes me think like, maybe I'll just lose a bit of weight, and then it's like, okay, that's why. So it's usually caused by something. But every time that those feelings hit, you then need to think to yourself, okay, what am I craving? Because it's not a smaller, lifeless, shitty, restricted, unhappy life. That's not what you're craving. You're craving the feelings that come with that. You're craving the relief, you're craving the control, you're craving the certainty of being valued, the certainty of fitting in. The list goes on. But you have to remember that going back to that place, what does that do to you? it makes your world smaller. It shrunk your life. It makes you hyper aware about everything. It makes you miserable. It makes you miss out. It makes you strict. It makes you control things. Again, the list goes on. And every time you go back to control, every time you reinforce this behavior, you are telling yourself, I can't handle life. I can't go through life without this control. I can't go through life without being the smallest miserable stuff. And you can, but you really have to be self-aware and think, what am I craving right now? What is making me go back? Why do I feel like this? Why is that? And how can I give myself that in different areas that are actually going to help me? So we're going to do a flip. That urge you feel to go back, that urge that you feel you want to restrict, you want to go back, you want to lose weight, it's not a sign that you're weak for feeling this way. It's not a sign that you are failing. It's not a sign that you need to relapse. It's a sign that you are on the edge of your comfort zone. It's a sign that things are getting a little bit uncomfortable and you're just not used to it. And what happens a lot at this time is you want to relapse. You want to go back. You want to start introducing these little rules again, those little ones that I just told you about. But what you need to do, and I know this sounds really like, oh, this doesn't work, it does work, but all you need to do is just stay what you are doing, sit with the feelings, stay. I'm not going to tell you to do some sort of breathing and stuff, even though that does help, but it's hard to believe that in the moment. You just need to stay. You just don't run. Do not run. By staying, this is something that actually stabs the noise, cuts through the noise. You are giving yourself that time to think about, instead of I need to restrict, you then give yourself that time to think, I'm having the urge to escape discomfort through control. I'm having the urge to escape discomfort through control. I'm having the urge to escape discomfort from control that made me miserable. I'm healing my relationship with food. I know what I'm doing. I know I'm going to be safe, but I just need to get through this discomfort. I'm on the edge of my comfort zone now. That one shift on its own creates that space that I always talk about, that space for awareness of what you do next, awareness of how you then think next and what you do. And you can even trick your brain and you can think to yourself, fine, you know what? I can go back, but just not now. I'm not going back now. I'm not going back now. Because then it's like, even though you're not going back and you can't go back, you're tricking your brain. You're saying, okay, fine, whatever. I can go back, but just not now. I'm giving myself another chance. I can do it. I'm doing it. And once you stay past that discomfort of your whole brain screaming at you, telling you need to go, the amount of rewiring that will do alone, that is already proof to store in that proof bank in your brain, where it's like, okay, the next time this happens, I done that, so I can do that again, and everything was okay when I done that. Remember, going back will not fix this. It will temporarily make it feel comfortable. It will temporarily get rid of the discomfort, and it will temporarily make you feel like you're in control. Temporary being the key word in that. And you need to think to yourself, no matter how intense the feeling of going back feels like safety, you need to think to yourself, does going back keep me in the same loop, or is it going to push me towards a life of food freedom? And the urge to relapse will feel like sensible. It will feel like the most comfortable thing to do. It will feel like the right thing to do. And I can't stress you enough. That's exactly why this moment matters so much, because you are proving to yourself that you can sit with these feelings and you don't run and you don't go back. And that in itself creates so much strength and so much resilience and so much power for you to bring on your next stage. And you can prove to yourself that you can do hard things. I think the really nice thing about this journey, about seeing through recovery and seeing through the discomfort, is like, you will get to a place where suddenly you think, oh, hang on a sec, like, I haven't thought about food for hours, and like, oh, hang on a sec, I just had that snack and it was fine, and I didn't think about it loads, and oh, hang on a sec, I now listen to myself more. And sometimes there'll be like this moment where you're like, there was no analysing that, there was no negotiation, there was no voice talking to me, like, this is weird, like, and it will be these like really empowering things, because it's like, you'll think to yourself, oh, there was once a time where I wasn't allowed to do this, there was once a time where that was impossible, and suddenly it just happened out of nowhere. And it's like, it's because you keep showing up and keep doing these things over and over again, teach your brain new things, that then it adapts with you. It knows, oh, this is the new way we're keeping her safe. This is the new way we're doing things around here. And it almost feels like weird and unfamiliar. It's like, hang on a sec, I should be controlling something here. I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Or like you might find that your brain is now trying to latch onto some other sort of control. And it feels so unfamiliar because all you knew is a mind that was busy tracking a bit, mind that was busy counting, a mind that was busy checking yourself constantly in the mirror, just a constant busy, noisy mind. But I think the thing that is most special about that, and the reason that you can sustain food freedom and it can be yours to sustain, is because you really realise how much you've actually done and how strong you actually are. And that's why I always go on about how strong. I tell you that you're strong and I prime your brain for it, because it is the most beautiful, empowering, amazing thing that you will go through. Even though it feels like the shittest, hardest and most unfair thing, you realise so much about yourself, so much about yourself and how strong you actually are, that you then actively choose to bring that through with you. And you choose to sustain your relationship with food when the whole world is going on injections and anti-inflammatory and what I understand, like feeding your body healthy stuff in order to support your body and make it its healthiest. But when people are doing it for just purely aesthetic reasons, like when you are surrounded by all that noise and temptation of losing weight, you sustain your food freedom because you realise the journey you've been on and you realise what it took to get you there, that you then protect yourself in other areas and you start thinking for yourself. You start applying. If other people want to go on a diet, I just remember, I know what I've been through. I know what makes me happy. I know how I feel about things. This is what I'm going to do. Instead of the voice going, oh, hang on a sec, everyone's gone on a diet. You need to do it now. You need to also go on the diet. This is the perfect time. Instead of that, you think for yourself. And that's why it's so sustainable. That's how you sustain it. Is because each time you get through these hurdles and you prove that you can sit when things get hard, you then apply that same strength to everything that you do in life and every challenge that you're faced with food going onwards. I'm not saying every day is going to be perfect and you can always constantly apply that, but you will always be thinking about what protects you, what protects your mind, what protects your relationship with food. That's how you'll be thinking. You realise that you can trust your body without having to control it. You can trust your body to have fun on a week away or 2 weeks away or whatever and not have to control it. You have so much more trust with yourself, your body, everything. You start seeing everything for the way that it actually is and not what the voice in your head makes you believe that it is. And again, it's not me saying that recovery is gonna bring you this perfect body with the perfect mindset, with the perfect, all the time. What I'm saying is, gives you this unshakable ability to be able to stay with yourself when things get hard, when everything around you feels out of control, when everything around you is changing. It gives you this strength to stay with yourself and ask yourself what you want. And I say this again and again and again, the version of you that does that has that, and the version of me that has that, we're not lucky. We stayed when things got uncomfortable. We saw through with tunnel vision. We got through the hard bits. We allowed ourselves to have hard moments. We allowed ourselves to get through hard times. But we still chose ourselves. We still chose the next step towards food freedom. And that is the full circle moment, because it happens. It's not like, oh, okay, Niamh said this, Niamh said that, Niamh said that, Niamh said that. It happens. It happens around you from choosing yourself. And you'll every single day or every single month, you'll notice a new thing that you can do that once felt impossible. And that's the full circle moment, because you don't just arrive at this perfect healed version of yourself that's gone through recovery and now come out amazing like the other side straight away. You slowly become this version of yourself that no longer needs to control everything just to live a life, that no longer needs to have a life built around control and food control and the smallest version of themselves. And another thing I think that people don't realise is that recovery doesn't happen when you feel calm and when you feel ready to attack it and when you feel things are finally okay to recover. Recovery and healing, it actually is happening through the times that things feel really fucking unbearable. But again, you still choose to see through them. You still choose yourself. You still choose the thing that's going to help you. Or choosing days where you would normally react in a certain way, but actually choose to think to yourself, how can I react differently here? What am I normally used to and what do I want to change? or when you feel the urge to restrict and you don't compensate, or when you feel the urge to go back to everything that you feel safe around and you don't. And what this does is it teaches your brain that you don't always need the same reaction in order to fix things, in order to be okay. And discomfort and going through uncomfortable things always doesn't have to be solved in the same way that makes you miserable. It doesn't always need to be fixed. You can just sit with the uncomfortableness, sit with the discomfort, but still choose yourself. This is the whole point that I'm making. Most people relapse and go back and beat themselves up because they think this transition should have happened by now. They think it should have happened by now. Why isn't it happening for me? Why is it this, that? It doesn't happen like that. It's different for everyone, and everything that I spoke about in this episode does not mean that it's like everyone's story. It does not mean it's the same for everyone. Healing with everything is always built in those small, unnoticeable moments that no one will ever have any idea what you've gone through. But you've still chose yourself, and you've still chose how you're going to react to things. The moments where you choose to react to your body in different ways than you're used to. And over time, your body will start to regulate. It will start to trust you. And it won't regulate because you forced it into place. It's because it finally feels like it can trust you without you having to constantly interrupt it, without you having to constantly feel like you know better than it. The whole point I'm making in this podcast is it's normal to feel discomfort, it's normal to feel out of control, but it's always about how you treat yourself after this discomfort and after this lack of control is the thing that's actually going to bring you forward. That is exactly what teaches your body to be safe and feel safe, and that is the only way that I have freed myself as well, is allowing there to be bad days, but always choosing and knowing why I'm doing it and knowing what's happening. But I have absolutely every belief in you that you can do it. And again, another week, another day of hoping that anything I have said has helped you in your, motivation with recovery, and knowing that you are not alone. Again, everything that I say is not in replacement of medical advice. Make sure you speak up. Make sure you seek medical advice if you are dealing with disordered eating or anything around food and anything disrupting your, needs to eat food. As always, I'm sending you so much love and strength for another lovely week, and thank you all so much for listening again. I feel so grateful for everyone, and I can't wait to catch up with you next week. I will see you then. Bye.